Hello vinyl community, Bradley here. Today it won't be a long video. I'm just going to show just a few odds and ends as far as music and musical devices and vinyl that I picked up in the last week. No genre, but you might be interested in this. Excuse me, my nose is itching. I used to be in bands when I was younger, played keyboards, and if you would ask any musician back then, of all things, what would you really like? What would you like to have? And probably one of the winning top comments would be, well, I want a big record, you know, I want a big record. Well, don't we all? You know, I never got it. But the other day, I did get a big record. I got two of them. This is vinyl. This is a 16-inch vinyl record. 16 inches, not 12 inches, 16. Bought it at a flea market. I saw it. This particular one cost $3. You know, it's, I cannot play it. It is 33 1/3. There's no way I can put this on my turntable. Yeah, the tone arm gets in the way. Plus the tone arm probably wouldn't be long enough. I don't know. It's huge. The story behind these 16-inch records, this particular one, it says World Program Service. Like I said, this is vinyl. Hear that? And this was made probably in the 50s, I would say. During the 50s, and early 60s even, especially 50s, early 50s, late 40s. There were very few open reel-to-reel tape recorders, because basically the Nazis in Germany invented those tape recorders. So after we beat them, we took their technology. But before reel-to-reel became common, radio stations, they could get some programming, and they would be on these huge 16-inch albums. Now this particular one, and there is a lot of space, I assume, so you could drop the needle very easily. I don't know, because on this particular album there's only like 8 minutes of music on here. So I don't know. I would assume this uses a regular 33 1/3 needle instead of a 78 needle. I don't know, but I can't play it. So anyhow, I saw another one. This cost a couple dollars more. Very nice sleeve. Now this is I think it's interesting. Another 16-inch album. If you can read on there, it says the 1952 March of Dimes. Disc jockey interviews with music. Had Red Foley, Night Train to Memphis, Guy Lombardo. On the other side, Sammy Kaye did a couple songs. Now on this, there were a bunch of years they issued these records for radio stations. and this was the 1952, and their instructions for this particular album says broadcast between January 2nd and the 31st only. Right there. And then also it says, please destroy transcription after this campaign is over with. So you just throw this record away. So, like I said, it's really interesting, and they continued making these for the March of Dimes, these huge records, probably up through the late 50s. I think Elvis was on one of them. It does have a great picture. March of Dimes, if you're old enough to remember. Now on this particular album, you do start on the outside, like a normal record. I do know some of these, and it has instructions. It says, start outside, 33 1/3 RPM. On some of these 16-inch albums, you actually started from the inner and would play out towards the edge, similar to Jack White's Lazaretto, because it could pick up a lot of this information in these inner grooves a lot better than if you go from outside in. Once you got to this inner part, you might have a little distortion and all that. So this one will probably go on my wall because it won't fit in my crates. And I think I'll give this other one to my cousin. You can hang them up on the wall or whatever. Just pretty interesting. And then another little, my older brother, came from California, and he's into woodworking with non-powered tools, all handwork. Everything he makes is by hand. Actually, he's made 3 rocking chairs that look amazing, and then he put a leather seat on them, and they're good, you know. I never thought he was that smart myself. That's why I always told Mom, I said, I'm the smart one, which I still am, I think. So anyhow, I told him, I said, as a vinyl person, why don't you make me a record cover holder? So I kind of told him what I wanted on the phone, and he made it. Which I'll show you the record fitting into there. There's a side view. The record will go into there. Actually, it's capable of holding a double album. He only made 1 groove, but he included these spacer sticks. So you can stick that in there, and that takes up the extra slack. So, sit that on top of my speaker, and I have the album currently playing. So, that's pretty neat. He does pretty good woodwork. And following in that vein, I play the organ. I have it's a Hammond B3 digital type. So it doesn't have a place for sheet music, which a lot of times doesn't bother me. I can't read that good anyhow. But I said, well, why don't you make me a sheet music holder? Now this is a little more hefty. So I told him the dimensions, and he made it to fit on my organ top. That's a side view, back view, and the wood is very nice. I think it's oak. There's the front. It's got a little lip to prevent the pages. I'll just stick a, there we go. That way I have my sheet music up there. And this is very sturdy, which I wanted it to be. And it looks really nice on my organ. Okay, a little back to vinyl. I think it was my last video, I was telling about Dexter Gordon pressings from Palace in Germany, the record pressing plant. So I went online and I tracked down the other two LPs from this live session. And I think I did a little investigation. There might even be a fourth one out there. So, whatever. Now, if you're not a Dexter Gordon fan, probably one of these would satisfy you. But I got all three. They were from the same session, so the sound is exactly the same. These are pressed in Palace. This was the one I showed earlier. That's the first one. This is on blue vinyl. And that's called Take the A Train, Dexter Gordon. And then this one, these other two I think I got one of them from Best Buy and one of them from Barnes & Noble. Best Buy did not have both, and Barnes & Noble did not have both. So I got, whatever, one from each place. And I thought maybe they might be colored vinyl, but they aren't. But they're really cool. So this is the second in the series. It's called Both Sides of Midnight. It's got the same band that I explained last time. And the third in this series is Dexter Gordon, Body and Soul. So it's kind of cool. The covers are very similar. Those are his last two. And the A Train was my first one I picked up in this series. Like I said, I can't pass anything that says Dexter Gordon up without buying it. But they're really excellent recordings, very well pressed. So, and these were on the Black Lion ORG music label. I think there are actually two companies called ORG, and they both make records. This is actually ORG Music. The website is orgmusic.com, but I don't think they actually sell anything on the website. You have to buy them through a third party, I think. Whatever. Anyhow, it has some other albums they put out. I think they did a really good Nirvana release. It's got 3 Thelonious Monks on here, a Ben Webster, Louis Armstrong, and they do good rock reissues. And these are all, I think they're all pressed at Palace in Germany, so they're very good quality. So I would check that ORG Music out. They are, they wouldn't be called audiophile, whatever, somewhere in between. The price varies. A lot of these albums are fairly cheap comparative for the quality. 22, 24, 25 bucks. Although some of them get a little expensive. One other album I got from probably Barnes & Noble. I like Cannonball Adderley. I've actually only listened to this one time so far. It is on Riverside, Cannonball Adderley Sextet in New York. It's recorded live at the Village Vanguard. Cannonball, Nat Adderley, Yusef Lateef, Joe Zawinul, Sam Jones, Louis Hayes, 1962 recording. Now, that very good live recording. Great sound. It sounds different than the Dexter Gordon live. You know, just different settings. Dexter Gordon was a lot more crisper. This isn't quite as crisp, but it sounds very good. So I want to get into that more and more. Now the last thing I will show here is I bought an album for my cousin Reggie, who lives in Louisville, actually Indiana, across the pond. I told him a couple months ago, I said, look, if you ever find a Beatles album it was either called the Hey Jude album or Beatles Again. I think it was released in maybe late '68. It's got Hey Jude, Revolution, Paperback Writer, Rain, Lady Madonna, Don't Let Me Down, Little Old Brown Shoe. Basically what it was these songs, and all of them were in stereo. Actually, the first couple songs is Can't Buy Me Love, I Should Have Known Better. Now most of these songs were all stereo. And most of these songs were, at that time, never released on an album. Like Hey Jude, Lady Madonna, Revolution, Paperback Writer, Rain, you know, all these songs, they were on singles, but they were all in stereo. Now that Can't Buy Me Love and Should Known Better, they were stereo, but they kind of go back to the Hard Day's Night album. It'd be the American album, I think. That might have been, because the Hard Day's Night albums were different in U.S. and because it was United Artists in the U.S. So that enters into the mix. But they were all basically all singles, is what I'm trying to say, in stereo. So he did find that album about a month ago. I'm going to hook up with him in the next couple weeks, hopefully. So I told him I bought him an album, but I would not tell him what it was. So I'm going to show you this album. But he watches some of my videos. So it's this one. There is an album behind here, but I can't show you because then he would know. Damn it. But I did pick him up this, and it's fairly equal in price to what he paid for the original Beatles album I was looking for, which that Hey Jude album, that was released, like I said, 68 or 69, and it only had a couple pressings, so they've never reissued it. You know, it's one of the rare Beatles albums that was never reissued, because it was one of the first of the kind of like, not greatest hits, but anthology type of music. So anyhow, those are some of my music pickups. So I do want to show this other album again. Maybe I'll get a screenshot here. It'll probably choose something else, but whatever. And these are cool. They're vinyl. So, this is Bradley. Thanks for watching. If you care, subscribe, comment, or like, please do. That's it for today. So, goodbye and take care.